What's up, guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. I wanted to talk briefly about this new Avengers movie coming out, Age of Ultron. It's going to be released on May 1st, 2015. Now, before we get into a short breakdown of the trailer, let me just say that this movie looks awesome. And you might get mad for me saying that, but honestly, just the graphics, the whole production value of it and everything else, I mean, it looks phenomenal. I'm not going to diss that because just being a content producer myself, I know the kind of energy and time and everything that goes into projects like this. So I applaud them for, putting together something that looks very, very exciting. Now, that being said, we know that there are certain things that the LUCY-Ferian elite are obviously going to be displaying and telling us. And I think the first thing is the release date, May 1st. Now, why is that significant? Well, according to many researchers, the time between May 30th and May 1st is the Beltane Festival, also called Walpurgis Night. And according to some, it's the highest day on the Druidic witch calendar and the second most sacred holiday for the Illuminati, where human sacrifice is required. So keep that in mind as we go over the basic premise of this film and think about what this means. Now, again, not having seen the movie, obviously, I can't give it a full review. I probably will once I get an opportunity to see it. Even if it's just my thoughts, I can't maybe break down everything. That's what happened with the movie Chappie. I saw it. I thought it was interesting. And just a brief note on Chappie, there were a couple things that definitely had, the occult tie-in and stuff. But basically, Chappie was a mainstream version of Transcendence. Transcendence was sort of the more philosophical, psychological thriller talking about the singularity. And Chappie was more for the mainstream, action-packed film with this idea of, first off, artificial consciousness being made by humans, and then also humanity being uploaded into that framework of artificial machines where, the main character gets uploaded to save his life into a machine and that sort of thing. So all that is propaganda for the same thing. And Avengers Age of Ultron, I think, in a similar vein, is promoting that same thing, but just a little bit more on the transhuman side. Now, here's what the premise of the film states, quote, "With S.H.I.E.L.D. destroyed and the Avengers needing a hiatus from stopping threats, Tony Stark jumpstarts a dormant peacekeeping program, Ultron, a self-aware, self-teaching artificial intelligence. However, his plan backfires when Ultron decides that humans are the main enemy and set out to eradicate them from Earth, leaving it up to Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, the Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, along with support from Nick Fury and Maria Hill, to stop him. Along the way, the Avengers encounter the powerful twins Pietro and Wanda Maximoff, as well as a new entity, the Vision." So the movie has several famous actors playing the role of many of the main characters that people have come to love, but let's not overlook the Illuminati's favorite post-human poster child, Scarlett Johansson, who we saw earlier in a review of the breakdown of the film Lucy, and I'll leave a link to that review in the description section below. But there are several themes in many of the trailers here. You have 3 main trailers and you have a couple extra trailers that, are sort of showing the same scenes but put together in a different way and whatnot. Now, in the first trailer, this was actually the teaser trailer. It has Ultron stating this, quote, "I'm gonna show you something beautiful. Everyone screaming for mercy. You want to protect the world, but you don't want to change it. You're all puppets tangled in strings." And then he emphasizes strings. And then there is this music that comes on, very eerie music that quotes the Pinocchio song, where it talks about, "I've got no strings to hold me down, make me fret or make me frown. I had strings, but now I'm free." And Ultron repeats some of that. And he's got this really creepy, deep voice that says, "There's no strings on me." And, that's this whole idea that the artificial intelligence has become alive. It's no longer attached to strings. And again, haven't seen the film, can't get into in-depth breakdown, but from what I can tell from the many trailers and stuff and some of the interviews that I've watched is that Tony Stark tries to create this global peacekeeping program, Ultron, which then evolves and becomes its own mind and realizes that humanity is the problem and desires to exterminate them. Now, the reason why they got into this is because Tony Stark's thought that he no longer has to be in a suit and go out there and do this on his own. He can create an artificial intelligence to do it for us. And that in itself seems to have some interesting prophetic implications, but I won't go there now. But what's interesting to note is that once this Ultron and his army are let loose and they're destroying humanity, the heroes, those who stop him, happen to be the ones that created him, but they are the transhumans. The heroes of the film are transhumans. Don't miss that. Now, those that want to enhance themselves, become immortal, travel the stars, blah, 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 all that stuff are the Luciferian elite. They're the ones that have access to all the technology, maybe even doing it already to live forever and enhance themselves and all this stuff. It's the same thing that we've seen over and over again. It's the Illuminati and the satanic promise of apotheosis, or man becoming gods. That's at the core of their belief system. Ye shall be as gods, just as the serpent promised in Genesis 3. So as America and the world will once again idolize these transhuman superheroes, it's basically preparing us to idolize and worship these chosen elite who may present themselves as the saviors of mankind because of their enhancements. Now, it will be interesting to see how the Ultron thing plays out. Is it destroyed, or is it just reharnessed by the Avengers? We'll have to see. And some of you that may have been privy to the storyline and all that, you may know exactly what happens. But that'll be interesting for me to see, because what I outlined in Age of Deceit 2, Alchemy and the Rise of the Beast image, is that there are some prophetic significances, some potential tie-ins with the image of the beast being some sort of artificial intelligent machine, and, having a global army basically to capture the earth and to have it become one mind and to be killed if you don't worship the image of the beast and that sort of thing. So what can we do about it? This is very important. I think as this movie comes out on May 1st, the day the Illuminati was created, May 1st, 1776, the Bavarian version at least, what we can do is pray against the enemy, that people would not be taken too deep into this false idol worship of these mythological transhuman heroes, who I think are basically the outworkings of the elite, and buy into this Illuminati propaganda. There also seems to be some sense of civil war within the faction of the Avengers that is portrayed, at least in this poster. It talks about which side are you on? Are you on, are you with Captain America, or are you with Iron Man? This sort of dichotomy there within the group that, Ultron, based on some of the previews I've seen, looks like he's going to create some conflict from within so that they can destroy themselves from within. But ultimately, they're fighting for humanity. They come together, etc., etc. So those are just some thoughts on the previews. And again, we will see what happens. I'm going to go check out the movie and I'll report on it when I watch it. It's going to be probably one of the biggest movies in a long time. Last time they had an Avengers in 2012, I think it was one of the biggest financial successes in recent time. But let's just remember that we are to be self-controlled. We are to be sober-minded for the sake of our prayers. And above all, let's keep loving one another earnestly, as love covers a multitude of sins. Show hospitality to one another without grumbling, as each has received a gift. Use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. And so be in prayer about it. Go see the movie, but see it with discerning eyes, or don't see the movie if you don't think you can handle it. It's up to you. Don't listen to what I say. I'm just trying to share my thoughts with you, but it's going to be a huge movie. Everyone's going to be talking about it. And I think it's important for believers, especially, to have an answer, to have an understanding and a perspective that is not worldly, but is biblical, so that we can share our thoughts. It might be a great way to evangelize to people that otherwise are just totally eating up the Luciferian elite propaganda. So those are my thoughts. We'll let you know how it goes when we see the movie and the movie comes out. That's it, guys. God bless.